everybody. Happy
Hey.
2022. It is
Yes.
Yeah. It's me, Katie Morton.
And Jenn Palmer.
And we're both intuitives, spiritual teachers, energy healers, and together we are divinely guided.
See,
Visit us. Yeah. Go there.
It's so good to see you guys again. It's, now we're only doing it once a month. It feels like it's been forever. We're like, oh, wait, what do we do now? I don't know. How do we set this thing up?
Yeah, the whole setup's like a bit involved because we stream to so many different locations. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a scramble. But
yeah. So speaking of that, if you feel like we aren't getting to your question, it's not because we don't love you or want to answer your question. It's mostly because we just go in order with what shows up on our chat software here.
And we're streaming to like maybe 8 different places. So it might look like we're skipping around, but we're not.
And it might look like you're the only one or two
watching.
But you're not.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just bringing us up on Rumble, which is one of our platforms.
If you guys are on Rumble, join us and check us out and, subscribe and give us a couple rumbles and I don't know, support us.
All that fun stuff. Right on.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right.
So format of the show is that people ask us questions and we tune in and get answers from your spirit guides. You should listen to all the answers because they often apply to many people. And there's replays on our website at divinelyguided.tv of these live videos that you can go back and watch any you feel so called to watch because you never know when there'll be messages in there for you. Okay.
All right. Let's do it. Okay. Let's go up.
Laura Ernaway. She says, Hi. Any messages for me? Probably. We'll find out.
The first thing I heard was loved ones. So I'm assuming that there's a message from loved ones. And I was trying to connect with an archangel to see what I could bring you, but I heard loved ones. And then I heard regrets. So I think there's a loved one on the other side who has some regrets. Whoever this is, I'm hoping you know who this is. But what I just heard is their life ended before they really did what they came here for. Their mission was incomplete. But that's not a bad thing. Oftentimes, in fact, most of the time, people leave this life or whatever life that they're living without really completing their mission.
Most people are more ambitious about their soul's mission than they're able to accomplish. They try to pack in a full agenda. As usual, weird noises come from the dog. There's a dog who's chewing on her leg. And she's really going at it, and it's gross. It's not me.
And I'm not sure if this is the person who the message is about, but I also heard uncle. So that could be that you also have an uncle on the other side who's trying to say hi. Sometimes, more than one tries to get something in because we only have a minute or two with you. So they all kind of come in at once and they're like, and me. So I'm not sure.
I think they want me to throw in my 2 cents. So one of your guides came in and what they showed me, what they're saying to me is that for you personally, it's your time to shine. I feel like you personally have a soul's mission and that this is the year you're meant to, I think, get over some confidence hurdles and put yourself out there and to really be seen in a bigger way than you're used to. And I think it's so that you don't have these same kinds of regrets when you're done in this lifetime. But it does feel like somewhat of a confidence challenge. And so it could be like a little bit of like healing work or consciousness work that you need to get through. But I do feel like the time is now and it's time to push yourself to help make it happen.
And I heard the word presence and this sounded like it came from somebody else. So I think this is coming more from archangels. But what they were saying is, the presence, they want you to practice presence. A lot of times we're floating through the day and we're either thinking about the future or thinking about something else that happened in the past. And the goal of presence is to be fully in the moment. The only moment is now, kind of a thing, and to practice that. And that's not always easy to do because our minds do wander back and forth. But there's a lot to be understood, and I'm hearing the word gleaned from being present.
Yeah, and I'm getting that there's this sort of a tie-in with this. It's a level of self-mastery, because what they keep showing me is a book that I believe might be called Presence, but it's about like stage presence, like more like public speaking stuff. But it's sort of tied together, because a lot of times when people have a hard time being seen, it's because their mind is like, we have stage fright, or, we're afraid to put ourselves out. Well, what will other people think? And so it's when we have presence, like as in present moment awareness, we are often able to put ourselves out there and lead the bigger life. And we don't let our ego has this like train of thought that can talk us out of being in front of other people because of the fear or the anxieties or the worries. So I feel like it's all tied together in terms of developing your present moment awareness will also help you to deliver your presence in front of other people. And so whatever this is with the soul mission, I feel like there's unfinished business there, or things that maybe you've wanted to accomplish, but you've been a little too fearful about what other people think. We're all guilty of that to some degree. Sometimes.
I'm not really getting anything else. Are you getting anything else?
I think that is it.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully
that helps, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Susan Hobbs. Hey, Susan.
Hey, Susan.
Good evening. Any messages for me?
The first thing I saw, Susan, was you saying, oh gosh, like I hope this coming year is better. So they just wanted me to communicate that first before anything else, that you're having this hope that this year is better. Aren't we all?
And I don't think it takes an intuitive to figure that out.
I know. But that's what I heard. And so I was waiting for more. And they said no to say that first. So it is said.
Well, and what's funny, when I was trying to tune in, they brought me right to your mouth, like to your teeth. So I don't know if you're having teeth issues or something, but like I'm drawn right to your teeth. And I don't know why.
So I'm not sure about that, but the continuation of the train of thought, and this is really for everyone, is that life is often what we make it. We all are given challenges. And so it's not to say that, one year can't be objectively better or worse than the next. Of course it can. Like, how weird have things been? But it's also this idea that we all signed up for different challenges on our life's journey. And that whole point is to master, sorry, the words master yo ass are coming through. Like the idea of the self-mastery of being able to handle the tough stuff with a stable inner being without needing the perfect conditions. Because everyone's like, when are we going to go back to normal? I hope this year is better. Of course, it's natural to think that way. Who doesn't? But I think what ultimately every human of Earth is meant to get out of these experiences, many things to get out of these experiences, but a lot of the ascension process is about mastering our reactions and our perception of things and our inner vibration, our faith, our trust, that we don't need the conditions to be perfect outside of us in order to feel good and emotionally solid and stable. That's always going to be an inside job. One of the messages they're bringing to mind that I had for a client recently was that you could take, let's say, somebody who's well practiced in self-mastery, like a Buddhist monk, somebody who's the deep meditator, nothing could shake them. You could put them in a war zone and they'll have inner peace. They won't have fear. They'll have that inner stability. You could take somebody else, like maybe a mere mortal, a normal person, and you could put them on this beautiful isolated mountaintop and tell them to meditate, and they'll be a mess. They'll be full of anxiety and their mind will be going crazy, and it might look like the perfect Zen environment. And so the idea is that it's not the outer situation that produces the inner calm, even though we think that it will. It will not. What will is practicing the self-mastery. So I think it's something we all need to get used to, is to stop waiting for the outer world to stabilize before we can. It's available to all of us at any moment. And it's about that inner peace. And it's the presence that Jenn was talking about last time, that present moment awareness where we are able to see through the eyes of our soul with a higher perspective that all is well and all will be well at all times.
Very good. I've not gotten anything else about your teeth, so I don't know. I hope your teeth are okay.
Me too. Well, my guides have had this saying in the past that always comes to mind with tooth issues, and that is, when the tooth comes out, the truth comes out. And that's this old, I think it might be an African saying that, I guess, like some tribal saying that they used to say, when the tooth comes out, the truth comes out. And I had a strange experience with that in my life where I had to have a wisdom tooth, a weird impacted wisdom tooth removed. And it was like a time of great revelation in my life. So
that's funny.
Anyway, I hope you don't have to have any tooth extractions, because ever since then, I've just been like, all right, that was enough for one lifetime. Thanks for that cute little saying. Okay.
That's awful.
It is awful. Moving on then. Joseph Battaglia.
Hey!
Happy New Year. Good to see you.
I just want to say, my son Jacob is reading your book, Blood Moon, I think is what it's called, right? Blood Moon? Anyway, he's got it. He's hogging it and he's loving it. So he's really enjoying it.
Good. All right. Joseph says, anything for me. Okay.
I keep hearing the word freedom, and it's almost like it's ringing in my head. And what I was asking for is like, is this about your ascension? And this male guide, whoever it is, he said yes. And very much a lot of, I think, what you're going through in this lifetime is about exploring the idea of freedom, free will, freedom to choose your life and how you navigate through it and everything else. And I feel like that there's definitely healing that's been happening through that process in your life. And I feel like there's more to come. I feel like a lot of what you're going through, whatever it is around that concept. Your free will choices.
So what I just heard too is that you're feeling a little bit lost, and that what they want you to do, they said there's more to come. Like, I feel like more to unfold but they want you to be in that open space of receivership. Because I think sometimes when we feel lost and confused, we can tend to get scattered or grind on things or try too hard to figure it out. And I think at this point in time, it's more of a stillness that's required. It's like this feeling of like you can't wrestle your way out of it. There's a period of uncertainty right now, and part of it, I think, is that developing patience for uncertainty. I think that's for everybody. Everybody's going through something like that right now.
I'm also hearing, like a lot of times the idea of freedom, it's not just about, are you imprisoned like in a jail cell or something. We imprison ourselves in so many ways. And one of what kept coming to me is the idea of making someone else happy or getting approval from other people. That's imprisonment. That is not freedom. And freeing yourself even from the opinions and points of views of what others think about you and how you're running your life and the choices you're making and everything else, or the things that you're doing or saying or feeling. It's a false imprisonment. And I think a lot of us do that. We care too much. We think 5 times before we post something on Facebook or whatever, because we're like, well, I don't know what would so-and-so think, or what would this person think, and that's not freedom. That is actually imprisonment. So I feel like this idea, like really dive deep with what the idea of freedom, and not necessarily in the form of enslavement, the way we would normally think of it, but in a way of like, where are you being held back in your choices? And who are you allowing to make those decisions for you? And do they really have your best interest in mind anyway? And I just feel like that's a really deep concept to dive into. I don't think I'm getting anything else.
I think that's it.
All right.
Okay.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Lauren Regal. We actually get to read Lauren Regal.
All right.
Hey, Lauren.
I know. We always afterwards sometimes we'll scroll through to see what we missed, and you always make me chuckle with these little things. She says, hello, any messages from the flip side? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I heard mission, mission, mission again. I think that often comes up with you.
Okay. I just heard you worry way too much. It was sort of blunt. My guide's kind of laughing. I think everybody does, though. Really.
God, that's so the truth.
We all do. Even people who aren't worriers really worry too. Because I don't consider myself a worrier, but I know my guides would tell me I worry too much. I just heard really, though, for you, whatever it is you might be worried about, they're saying that it is okay. It's going to be okay, or it is okay. I feel like there's an illusion there that...
I just heard false evidence appearing real. I'm like, where have I heard that before? And I'm like, oh yeah, fear, FEAR.
Yeah. So like there's something that is, not, it's like not what you think it is. It like, maybe it looks worse than it actually is. And I just heard that you know what it is. And then I heard, yep, okay.
And I just heard move forward with confidence.
Yeah, I heard don't let it stop you. And let the chips fall where they may. And I heard it is for the best and it is for your best. And that you're going to feel some sort of relief on the other side of it, whatever this is. I guess there's like, it's like take a leap of some kind. And I just heard you're going to be so proud of yourself. Do it, do it, do it.
Your dog is going crazy up there.
Yeah, my dog's upstairs with a toy going berserk, which is good because she was being a little noisy down here. So
now she's really noisy up there.
Now she's like, she's having the time of her life.
All right.
Okay. I'm just going to read all the questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, beautiful ladies. Any messages for me today? That's Carrie Goulet. Carrie. Hi. Yes, Carrie, there are messages for you. We will get them. I just heard this is it, Carrie. This is your year, and that you're going to move into your soul mission in a very real way, and that you're going to be activated. So there are times that people, like I know you've been trying to sort of move like on a more full-time basis or a more time basis into your work as an intuitive and an energy healer, and there's been like circumstances that hold you back. I feel like there are times that people get activated when it's like, nothing can stop me now. Like they just kind of get this fire in their eyes, and it's like they're literally on a mission. And I do feel like that is coming for you soon. So get ready. Yeah. But it's a beautiful thing. It's like a very fun time to be activated when all like the foot dragging ceases and you're just like, all right, the time is now. And I heard you will be pulled forward.
Hopefully not kicking and screaming.
They didn't say anything about that. No. I think that's up to you. You could, or you could choose not to. Maybe that would probably be good. I just heard now. You'll be happy about it.
I did see you toning, so I have a feeling it at least involves in some way the toning and the healing. I feel like they're saying keep doing. I know you had done at least one video, YouTube video. I'm going to say that out loud. Carrie did a YouTube video and she did some toning for healing, and it's out there. So, Carrie, if you want to post a link in the comments or something, please do. Keep doing them. And if you can even do one a week, if you haven't done any more of them, do more. Do it like once a week. Get one out there.
I just heard you go, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It seems like quite a commitment, but it's not. You'll do it and it'll flow.
Yeah, I was getting like there's something about when you put one out there and then there's always, I feel for beginner content creators, there's always this sort of letdown because you get yourself so psyched up to put yourself out there. And then usually because you're at the beginning stages, it's like, there's usually some sort of like, okay, thank God that's over with. And now I'm going to like go slink back into my cave. And they don't want you to do that. It's like, get back on the horse. And it's also this feeling of like, the more you do these, the easier it gets, both from the confidence standpoint, improvement of the skills and abilities in all ways, like the video itself, plus like the just the kludgy process of having to like edit it and upload it. Like that gets a lot smoother the more you do it too. So like you'll learn what works for you. So I feel like they want you to just like hammer away at that because I think this is a big deal.
And if you cringed at all when I said, look her up on YouTube, share the link, then yeah, you have some healing to do around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you should really want to promote it. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was. It's still there. You can go listen to it.
We should do it right now. No.
Mm-hmm. No, wait until we're done with our live, and then you can go watch our video.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything else.
I think that's it, Carrie.
All right, Carrie.
All right. Shawnee Nicole Drake.
You want me to do it?
Sure.
Okay. Good evening. Happy New Year. Any messages from my guides?
Yes. Okay.
I have so much like happiness and excitement coming in right now. So I'm assuming that that's about you in 2022. And these feel like they're coming from loved ones. Like I'm seeing them like, yes, and they're clapping their hands. And
so what I saw is that one of my guides, I was like, what is there for her? And he said, look in my eyes. And I looked in and it was like I dove into my guide's eye holes and inside was the expanse of the universe. And it was like I was traveling through space. And he said, huge expansion. And then he said, spiritual expansion. So I feel like you're going to have some sort of a spiritual experience this year that's really going to blow you away, like perhaps in meditation or in a healing session.
I was just going to say it might be in a healing session. Yeah.
And I also just heard astral travel, and it feels like you're going to learn something about that this year or play more with it if you've already done it. And I just heard yes.
I just heard explosive content. I don't know exactly what that means. I also heard someone say 15 miles until complete, and I don't know what that means either. So hopefully it means something to you.
The dog is back, scratching the rug. Good times. Shelby. The only other thing they wanted me to add about the astral travel is to do it safely. So I guess maybe look into like, what does that mean? Safe astral travel versus unsafe. Find out what the risks are. I guess do whatever safeguards you got to do there. I just heard it has to do with sacred space. I think both around the body and around the spirit as you travel. And it feels like securing both locations. All right, so they just want me to mention the idea that this is a bit weird, but when you astral travel and it's sort of like the soul or the spirit gets to like leave the body, the consciousness basically leaves the body and gets to like travel around and see other things, go other places, but it can leave the physical body exposed and other things can kind of like get in and take the body for a spin, perhaps. You don't want that to happen. Just saying.
Yeah.
So spirit world is a weird thing, you know.
Everything is weird. Everything is so weird.
It's
I
so
don't know.
weird.
It's so weird. I also heard, see the forest through the trees. And so I think that's telling me, see the bigger picture about some things. Don't get so caught up in some of the details of certain situations. I think see bigger picture as much as you can.
Yeah, one last thing on the astral travel they wanted me to add is to go to divinelyguided.tv and review the sacred space post that we have, because I feel like whatever it is that you need, at least in part, is going to be contained in that post. I feel like maybe update your methods. I heard it's time.
And I feel like the see the forest through the trees kind of a thing is something to do with a relationship. So that's what I'm feeling about that. So it's interesting. I want to say, I feel like I need to say this, and I think this is for more than just you. I think this is for a lot of us on here. When you're in a relationship with somebody, there's good and bad times. No one gets along all the time, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people do, but I don't know. I think most people
almost do.
Almost.
Pretty close.
Pretty close. Yeah. But, there's always somebody that you don't get along with. Like we get along pretty well together, but then there's other people that we're like, I don't know.
No, we like everybody.
We love everybody. It doesn't mean we always
equally
appreciate everybody at the moment, I guess.
Look, people of Earth, humans of Earth, we all have our stuff. We're all working on it.
But, one of the things they showed me how to do, and it's not to excuse someone's poor behavior, but, you kind of get what you're manifesting in somebody. And even when you're in relationship and while they have free will, that freedom thing, they can act however the heck they want, right? They can treat you like crud. It's up to them. But the way you approach it and the way you think of them and the way you think about how they treat you also affects how they treat you. So we are all energy and we feed off of each other's expectations and ideas of what we're all intending. And so that said, when you're in a relationship with somebody, maybe it's someone that you can't get out of relationship with, maybe it's a family member or something like that, or a good friend or whatever, it doesn't matter. When you see the best in them, even when they're showing you the worst, you're going to get more and more of the best of them. And the more you focus on the best of them, the more they become the best of them. And then the more you focus on the best of them, the more they become the best of them. And then like what you noticed in them previously doesn't seem to show up as much or ever again. And, but it doesn't mean you don't call things out. Someone's overstepping a boundary or something, you can call it out lovingly and then move forward and continue to see the best in them. And so whatever this is, I feel like it's connected to you, Chantel, but I also think this is for a lot of us here. And how do we love each other unconditionally and appreciate each other and help each other grow and yet still, be accountable and everything else. But I feel like that's something that they wanted to get through.
Yeah, and I think the one addition they'd like me to make about it is this idea that, because we're on Earth, we're not interacting with the people in the meat suits, and sometimes we get a little too caught up in our human relationships. And what we're all really seeking while we're in Earth, we're in separation, well, the illusion of separation from God. And really what we're seeking, what we all think we're going to get from other people, and then that deep satisfaction and that feeling of love and fulfillment, what we're looking for is with God. And that's ultimately, even while we're here, we can get that via meditation, via communing with God, just sending God love and receiving God's love. And that is really what is going to fulfill that itch for us. And sometimes I think we get way too wrapped around the axle with needing other people to fulfill our needs. And then it can be very hard to do what Jenn just said. But if you can really just get right in terms of, not that you're not right with this, because I know you're a very spiritual person, but just remember that your first and primary relationship is always going to be with God. And if we can always prioritize that, then it's so much easier to accomplish what Jenn is saying. And then we really are able to live by the words, namaste, I see the light in you, like this idea of like, we're all the creator, we're all pieces of God wandering around here like idiots, right? So it's like,
have you ever said namaste to somebody and felt like a total fraud? Because you're like not in the mood. You're like, namaste.
Namaste, bitches. No, I'm just kidding. It's just,
You're having a bad day. I don't know.
It happens. Yeah. It happens to everybody. But ultimately we're here to, represent. It's like we're children of God. And if we can remember that, then it makes everything a lot easier to forgive. And if we can let people off the hook, and that doesn't mean be a doormat and to put up with crap, but rather to release ourselves from needing something from other people.
Yeah, it's kind of the idea of manifesting the best in the relationship. If you're both not manifesting the best, then it's going to be pretty awful. But even one of you starts trying to manifest the best, it really changes things.
Truth.
All right.
All right.
You want to read the next one?
Sure. Nina! I hope you're doing great. It's really good to see you on here. She says, Happy New Year. Any words of advice from my guides on business or health for me this year? Sure. I just heard release, release, release. And they just said you're holding on to some things. Maybe like grudges, resentments, something like that. And I feel like it's, I don't know, somehow messing up the vibration of the body. It feels like deep stuff, like it's in there deep. It's like hard to maybe figure out how to let this go. And I feel like it's not top of mind either. It's not, I feel like it's not a rumination. It might be something from your past that I think you tried to, we do this sometimes when something really bothers us and, we don't want to walk around like that. And so just trying to be the bigger person, sometimes we'll just be like, all right, well, I'm going to set that aside. I feel like it wasn't properly processed. And maybe it was stuffed more than you thought it was. I just heard it's like festering, but you're unawares of it. But I also feel like once you go looking, you're not going to have to look that hard. That is not like deep subconscious stuff. It's like maybe it's forgotten. But if you try to like poke around, like, what is it? What's something that I let bygones be bygones that I didn't see from the higher perspective. Sometimes what can happen when we're wronged, or we perceive that we're wronged at least, and then we do that where we're like, all right, well, I'm just going to let bygones be bygones. And we can come to a perspective like, well, that person's just a jerk or whatever. But we didn't properly process it to get to this like very high soul space where it's like all is forgiven, like truly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very hard to do. That's spiritual master type work. But I'm also hearing that you're up for it and it's time. So whatever this work is, don't shy away from it. I feel like, I know Jenn probably has more to say, but I feel like it's going to help this the manifestations with business and health go more smoothly once whatever this is out of the vibration. I feel like it frees you to then maybe move forward with more success in these other areas.
Well, I don't have anything in addition to add to that as far as that aspect goes. But what I do have is, and I forget the name. What's the name of the technology that she used?
Time Waver.
Time Waver. Thank you. I was trying really hard to remember that. I immediately saw that. And I think that that's really important for what's coming. A lot of things are shifting. More and more people are coming into the energy experience and how do you heal or do things energetically and on the energy level. And, that's like so much the foundation of everything, right? And it reminded me of, and I just want to say, like, well, first off, I saw you speaking to a lot of people, really promoting it, really marketing it, and trying to get out there with it again. I feel like if you were trying to do that after you moved, it just wasn't time, or it was being held back, or something wasn't quite right with the energy of it. It wasn't in alignment. So maybe make that, whatever this is, a part of your intention to release with the time waiver, and then really start promoting it. And I saw you on calls, I saw you in groups, really offering it to people. And I'm telling you guys, look up Time Waver, look up Nina.
Look up Nina. Yeah,
Nina
go to
Elliott.
her Facebook page and connect, because it's an amazing technology. We've both used it and loved it.
Yes, it created a dramatic shift for me with Nourishing Journey at one point. I ran it for Nourishing Journey. And I was like, I want Nourishing Journey to be in the highest alignment with whatever its mission is outside of me. Like I have my own thoughts and ideas, but it's its own being. Whenever you have a business or a project, it has a spirit of its own. And so I was like, I want this to thrive. Remove anything that is in the way of it doing what it's meant to do and to thrive at it. And over the next month, and starting like the very next day, but over the next month, I had a bunch of people leave. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm scared. Like, what's happening? And I was like, oh yeah, I just did Time Waver. And it really was amazing, because then all of a sudden all the right people came in and everything really aligned, and it was phenomenal. And so just want to say, Time Waver, Nina Elliott, Nina, get at it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's it. They just said peace, but I think that was their way of leaving. I think they just said peace, and then they walked out. So
Peace out.
Peace out.
All right, cool.
Faye Robbins.
Hello, ladies. Happy holidays. Anything will be good. All right, we'll get you something.
Well, then she also said, missed you, ladies. Any messages from loved ones or guides? I dreamed of snakes last night. Freaky.
Oh, okay.
Well, that could be good or bad, I guess.
Yeah, could be neutral. Could be a symbol.
So I just see you dancing and like really happy. I do feel that there's going to be some things that unfold for you in 2022. Certain stresses and pressures that you have had will be relieved, and it feels like finances are involved a little bit. So I'm gonna just put that out there. I'm not 100% positive that that's the only thing, but I feel like it's at least partially that. Some sort of reprieve. And then I just heard the word mastery. What is that about? And then I just heard feelings. So I think where they're going with this, and this is also something that's probably good for a lot of us on here, a lot of us, we're ruled by our feelings, right? We get upset, angry, sad, whatever it is, and it rules us. We are so ruled by them. And the idea is that, when you get to more of a mastery with all of this type of thing, and, not that anyone, I think, well, very few people, maybe some people, but very few people are true masters at it. The rest of us are just in the process, right? But, a lot of times we like to think of our feelings as our truth, and that could not be more of an untruth, really. And
Can I just tell you, there's a saying, never listen to this saying. It's called, my feelings aren't wrong. They're usually wrong, okay?
well, I mean, they're true in that it is how you're feeling. And,
right.
But
they often point to places we need to heal.
Yes,
and
they're flags.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah. And we all do it, but the thing is a lot of times our feelings are based upon how we're thinking of something. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the way we're thinking of something is either incomplete, inaccurate, or just totally wrong. It's very rarely ever the full 100% truth of a situation. And so when you start exploring, okay, I'm upset by this. Why am I upset by this? Oh, it's because I think this. Why do I think this? So you really just dive into the mental process and why you're thinking the way you're thinking. And you start questioning the ego, basically, is what you're doing. And once you do that, usually you start to calm down. And usually you come to a greater truth. And then usually you can see more wisdom in the situation. But, it's not to say that your feelings aren't important, because they are. But we misplace that importance.
Yeah. It's really a flag for the to begin the inquiry and the exploratory process. Mm-hmm. The problem often with feelings is that then we get reactive. We believe everything we think. We then often create bad karma for ourselves because we fly off the handle. So it's really a time when you get triggered and reactive, it's really the time to pause, not to like go with it and be like, this is my truth and you're all gonna eat it. Like, that's the wrong way.
Not that we're saying you're doing that, Faye, but
right. Yeah. I mean, this is just humans of Earth stuff. Like, I think that like a lot of times that it's just what people do, it's what people do, and we're not taught differently.
We still do it sometimes, but we really catch ourselves. And, sometimes when we get triggered, and so we just call it trigger, we're triggered. And usually when you're triggered, it's because you feel that something is happening to you. And so you're in that victim stance of some sort. And we've learned how to quickly get out of that and to see more wisdom and a higher perspective, and to see it for what it is and not what the ego wants to think of it as. The ego does not want to see anything other than you all need to do the work, and I'm the one who's speaking total and abundant truth, whatever it is. Right? And, but no, that's not usually the case. So, the spiritual path would be to question it and to go within and to not look without for the answers. The answers are within, but it's about the questioning and the mastery of the questioning and the thought processes and everything else. So it's a huge piece to healing and consciousness work.
Yeah. And if we can all have the understanding that we all live within multiple illusions.
Oh, yes.
We just do. And then just keep an open mind.
And love everything.
Yeah. Just love it all.
Love yourself, even your own, crazy emotions
and thoughts and situations and your perception of the situations, but also question it all. Love it all and question it all. And I just heard also, and for, again, this is for every person, not just you, Faye, but it's like, don't go along with the herd, right? It's like there's humans tend towards herd mentalities, and we all have to, get centered and seek that inner truth and really like gut test some things that we've been fed. And I also just heard it, and to use logic and reason and critical thinking, because there's, I think, a danger with going with the herd.
I get the feeling most of the people that check in with us and watch these things, you tend to think a little differently anyway, and sometimes even feel like you're not a part of the herd because, you know, you just see things a little differently.
Yeah.
And
I think, though, what I've been seeing lately, though, is that everybody does it. We all have our
yeah, well,
herds.
that's true.
We all have our herds. Even people who are like super duper different and see things super duper different, and they don't go with like what would traditionally be conceived of as going with the herd. And they might even think like, oh, that's them and not me. I'm
I go against the grain.
right. Even people like that, they latch people like that. I'm like that, but we all have our we latch on to herds, and there's a lot of people who are trying to figure out like what is true right now.
Where's my
right?
tribe?
There's a lot of people questioning things and trying to figure out what's true. And what I've seen, even in places where people are very earnestly looking for truth, I see misinformation. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And there's herds everywhere. There's pockets everywhere. And so we all have to, I think, come into our sovereignty. I think that's all part of the process, and to be very individualistic in our thoughts and to stop trying to latch onto herds.
And at the same time, practice the law of one.
We are all
one. So yeah, there's the conundrum. How do we do that?
I think it's recognizing that we're all in illusions and that it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're all one in our illusions.
Woohoo! We love you guys. Thanks for listening to us. My gosh.
I know, right?
All right. Jess Mack. Happy New Year, ladies. Any messages for me? Thanks.
Cool. Hey, Jess.
I'm not sure where it's going with this because I haven't gotten a firm answer yet. But the first thing I saw, I just want to say it in case Katie's getting something. But the first thing I saw was like being out with the trees, and I saw some birds. And then it reminded me of just some of the pictures you've taken and posted online. And I was like, is it about photography? And they said no. But I think it has something to do with being outside. But I don't feel like I'm hitting the nail on the head with that yet.
I've seen this image for you so many times, Jess. It's a tree with a woodpecker on it. What is up with that? I feel like it has something to do with the persistence, the persistence of the woodpecker and, what they have to go through to get a meal. Like how many pecks on the tree do they have to do, right? They just kind of like jackhammer at it. And, and I feel like not letting the weather deter you as well in terms of whatever this is you're meant to accomplish in nature.
I do feel like you're meant to basically commune with, the spirit of the land and the trees. And there's a grounding of some sort that happens with that, communing with the elements. And it sounds crazy and hokey and everything else, but there's just something so aligning with connecting to other living beings that are not necessarily going to sit there and judge you, or, you know what I mean? They're just, it's a beautiful energy. It's a tree and it has energy. It has consciousness, and it seems crazy, but it really does. And there's no judgment. It's just connection. And I feel like that's really important for you.
Yeah, and they want me to talk about what I got for a client yesterday. They showed me this woman hugging a birch tree by a stream, and it was the idea of like doing those, like finding a tree friend. I used to have a tree friend I've had throughout my life, I've had different tree friends where you find a place in nature that you're comfortable going on a regular basis, and you visit your tree friend and you hug your tree friend and do energy exchanges. But you can actually like get information from trees too. You can actually get stuff. Trees have this, root system, and they all communicate. And in some senses, like one tree is connected throughout the earth because there's networks of funguses and roots and things all over the earth.
Well, and they also connect the insects. Like, it's all so connected.
Yeah, and they share information. So there's a lot to be gotten from nature, information wise and consciousness wise and communing and friendship wise. And yeah, it's really great. I know I sound like a total crazy person, but it's all true. I just heard hug a tree. You won't regret it.
Be my friend.
And that's it.
All right.
Malika and Fernandez de Souza.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, ladies. Are there any messages for me today? All right. First thing I'm hearing is don't believe everything you think, which is funny. It's the second time I've heard that tonight. And it's something that my guides it's a refrain I've heard over the years. And it's been a very helpful refrain for me. And I think for a lot of people to understand the idea, because a lot of times like we think things and we identify it. We identify as fact because I thought it. And if once we have that mantra in our mind of like, well, don't believe everything you think, it's just a really useful tool to start questioning. And I feel like the theme of tonight, often themes come up. And I feel like this one is the idea of this sort of enlightenment or this self-mastery of seeing behind the curtain of the illusions of life and how to seek deeper and higher truths. And I think one really helpful refrain for getting there is to don't believe everything you think, because as discussed previously, it's our thoughts that often create our emotions and our thoughts about things that create our inner world. And so we have to carefully curate our thoughts and decide whether a thought, is it true? Is it helpful? There's that sort of litmus test. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? And if it doesn't meet those three things, then stop thinking it, right?
Well, it's interesting. I started sensing that there was, just some energy around that's not great. And so I want to talk real quickly about, and I'm not saying it's with you necessarily, it might be with somebody else, but I feel like in alignment with the idea of thoughts, what came to mind for me is that I've had so many times over the last few years where it's like this thought form comes in out of nowhere. And I'm like, that's not my thought, and it's not helpful. And it was really, there's programming. There are people out there, there are groups of people out there who are purposely putting out programming to make people think certain things. I mean, it is real, it is happening, there's these agendas out there, to keep us
thinking in certain ways.
Yeah, to keep us from waking up and assessing things the way we need to assess them, and from being free, basically. And these thought forms will come in, and out of nowhere, it's like I'm very aware, and it's because I'm aware, and I understand these things, and I can sense when something like that happens, that I am able to discern it. But I think it's happening to a lot of us, and there's one of the things that Katie and I like to do is we like to try to clear these things and to try to, keep it from coming in. But it's happening to everybody on some level or another. And to just be aware, when things come in, question the thought, because a lot of times they're not even yours. And even if it's not like this programming that's coming in, it could be, there's negative entities all around, there's lots of avenues.
There can even be other people's thoughts.
Yes.
I've had that happen to me where I'm just like thinking. And then later I realized that it wasn't me.
You're just hooked into somebody. Yes, that happens to me too.
It's very weird.
So question your thoughts. Just because there's something that you're thinking or feeling about a situation, it does not mean there's anything to it, really. It might be, it might be totally legit and something to take seriously, and sometimes not. So the practice of discernment and trying to figure out, is that really mine, or is it somebody else's, or, is
it valid or whatever?
Yeah.
And the other thing, oh gosh, I lost it. My guys are bringing up another concept around this whole topic. Give me a moment. Let me see. All right. Well, it couldn't have been that important because I forgot.
Well, if we think of it before we get off here in a minute, we'll
bring it up.
We'll bring it up.
Oh, I remember what it was now. I just went up to my guy and was like, what was it? It's the idea that in general, people, we attach too much importance to our thoughts. So we will have thoughts that we're just all day. We are so it's a soliloquy, everything in our head. We're monologuing. It's like a Shakespearean play in our head. And we think everything we think is important. And our guides are so funny because they're just like, none of this is important. Half of it's not even real. So, I mean, that's just for, and it's for all of us. So anyway, I hope you don't feel singled out or targeted with all of this. I think this is just general life advice for everybody.
Yes.
All humans of Earth.
This is what our guides do. If you aren't used to us, they kind of bring up one thing for somebody, but they try to really apply it a lot of times to everybody who's listening. So
yeah, it's a lot of universal advice.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we do hope that's helpful for you as well, Malika.
Yeah, and Happy New Year.
Yeah. Nancy Wilson, Happy New Year. She says, hello, I could use some information about the right direction for me at this time, particularly vocationally. I hope you're well. I hope you and Cliff are doing really good.
I was trying to tune into you, and I just can't get beyond this feeling I was having. You were just sitting there smiling with your eyes closed, and there's this feeling of leaving my body and just being in outer space somewhere, and so divinely happy and joyous. I don't want to come back.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I did hear that, because I think vocationally, a lot of times we get sort of, not that you're wrapped around the axle about it, but it was, we try to figure it out, or we feel like we need a place to land. I feel like right now there's going to be this sort of transition phase where you're not supposed to have it figured out, but there's going to be inklings or clues that you're meant to follow, and that it's an unfoldment. That we can't say to you right now, oh, it's time to go be a blah. I feel like this is an experiential time or process that is feels a little drawn out, and so there's again that idea of having to sit in the uncertainty of it and to just enjoy the journey of where that's taking you. Feels spiritual though, so I think that's awesome. That sounds super fun.
And I see you working with groups.
And I heard there's going to be refinement and practicing with it. So even if you I feel like you might have some ideas now, but I feel like it's going to unfold in ways that are unexpected. And to allow that, have fun with that, because sometimes we want the whole story up front, and I just feel like you're not going to get it.
Do any of us ever get the whole story?
I was just sort of isn't that always the truth? But well, it's 8:00. How about that?
So I was asking if there was any fear about not knowing, and I'm not really getting a fear or anything like that, but it's more put me in, coach. I want to go in. I want to go in. Show me what to do. And they're just like, take a seat for a minute. You know what I mean? But it's not like you're not valued and you're not worthy or anything like that. I think there's something unfolding within you that just really, it's like it's almost there. Enjoy the process. Let it keep coming and just stay open to it. But I'm going to come back to that original image that I saw of you, that vision of just being complete bliss and connecting to the universe, basically. It was really beautiful. I want that. I just heard it's really important. So get into meditation and allow it to show you. Don't direct it. I just heard commune with the heavens. And I also feel like they're saying, don't be afraid to use your imagination. You know, I feel like you try, but maybe it feels silly sometimes, or maybe it's just old programming of, we don't trust our imagination because that's just, what little kids do or something like that. But your imagination is so important around the manifestations that we bring through. We're always imagining. Usually we're imagining the worst of things happening. You really focus your imagination and use it. It's an amazing tool. And, even as healers, when we're doing healing and we're imagining that the energy goes, I don't know, down to the toe and we're sitting at the head, the person can usually feel it down at the toe because we've directed it with our imagination where to go. And
imagination is very creative.
Yes. So allow that process to take place. Don't hold it back in any way. Don't feel silly with it, and really explore it. And I'm also just hearing Neville Goddard. So study some Neville Goddard material. He's really amazing around the idea of manifestation and imagination and things like that. It's really, I can't get enough of him right now. And I think that's it for me. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that is it for the evening. I believe it's the ball game. So,
all right, guys.
Thank you for joining us. We are on here the first Thursday of every month. In the meantime, go to divinelyguided.tv, check out our videos, and also please join our soul growth group and develop your soul, your spiritual learnings, and your intuition. We teach intuition. So.
Yeah, and a lot of our videos are pretty short, so they aren't like an hour-long live or anything like that. Although we do post all of our lives, but we have a lot of short videos,
shorter, like 20 minutes, 10 minutes sometimes.
Yeah. So take a look and see if anything interests you. Join our soul growth group.
Yeah, it's all there. All right.
All right.
We will see you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.